All right. Why is this blurry? Here we go. Hey everybody, it's Dusti Martin with Platinum Living Realty dropping in to give you your monthly market update for the towns of Cave Creek and Carefree. This month we had some big movements in the market, but I'm going to break it down for you even by price point. And let me tell you, all price points in Cave Creek and Carefree this month were not created equal. So grab a snack, hit the subscribe button, buckle up, let's go. All right, so we've got some big shifts going on around the valley, but Cave Creek and Carefree at a point when some things slowed down around the valley, Cave Creek and Carefree actually had a few things kind of speed up. So let's get into that. Our active listings are up 80% over this time last year, which sounds scary, but we had almost nothing last year. Our sold listings are also down, but only 38.1%. And then our median price per square foot, and this is one of the highest I have seen around the valley for this past month, is up 27.2% over this time last year. Remember, normal appreciation in any market is like 2 to 4%. So when you're talking about 27%, that is crazy. That's absurd. And that is still a lot of the demand. No, that's still a lot of those big historical gains that we're still continuing to see despite interest rates going up. So keep that in mind when you see that, your home value is up almost 30% year over year, that's a sign that you've made a really good investment. And if you don't plan on selling, you just stay there and maybe the economy does collapse and you don't lose your job and you plan on not going anywhere, or maybe you're retired and you don't plan on going anywhere, nothing happens, nothing changes. Either way, you've still made a lot of money over this time last year. Our months of supply, here's another scary number, but there's a twist to it this month. Our months of supply is up over 190% over this time last year. But here's the kicker. We're still only sitting at 2.63 months of supply, not even 3 months of supply. Anything less than 4 months of supply is a seller's market. So we're still, despite all the interest rates going up and our traditional summer slump going on, we're still well inside of a seller's market for most price points. If you want to know what the luxury market is doing, wait till the end. I'm going to break it down for you by price point. Our median days on market, here's the other crazy thing. Our median days on market is actually down over 15% over this time last year, meaning homes are selling faster than they did this time last year. Crazy, right? Especially when interest rates were like 3% this time last year, almost nothing. And some people were able to buy down to get under 3%. But our median days on market right now is about 27 days. And on average, it only takes 30 days to close a loan. This time last year, it was taking us 32 days to sell a home. So let that sink in. Homes are selling for way faster, for even a lot more money, despite having the increase in inventory. What that's telling us as we go into our cooler months, when our snowbirds and our seasonal residents start to come back and tourist season starts to get into full swing in Cave Creek, what that's telling us is even the summer slump, even the increased interest rates aren't enough to slow down our housing market here in Cave Creek and Carefree. The houses that are not sitting on the market are selling for a lot more money, and they're selling for a lot faster than they did last year, which is kind of like, to put it in perspective, yeah, listings are up and sales are down, but at the same time, it's nowhere near enough to really kind of get the crazy train to slow down just yet. So keep that in mind. So let's jump over to our months of supply by price point. This is important if you're getting ready to sell your home. You need to know what you're up against, but also if you're looking to buy a home in Cave Creek or Carefree, you need to also know how many other buyers are out there fighting over the same properties that you are, right? So we're going to skip the $0 to $100,000 price range. We're going to skip the $100,000 to $200,000 price range. We're going to skip $200,000 to $300,000 and $300,000 to $500,000 price range. With those 4 price ranges combined, there's only 5 properties, and 2 of those price ranges have no properties. So keep that in mind. And none of them sold, and we don't know why. We don't know if they're the ugly duckling or if they came on the market at the very end of the month. We don't know the exact circumstances. But what we do know is once we get to the $500,000 to $700,000 price range, we're at just over 2 months of supply, 2.11 months of supply. So not even quite 9 weeks worth of inventory. That's not a lot. When you start talking about real estate inventory in terms of days or weeks, like that's a really hot market. That's almost as hot as it can get. Remember, anything 4 months or less is a seller's market. So when you're at the 2-month mark, it's still a really, really strong seller's market. However, you'll probably only see 1 or 2 or 3 good offers on a property as opposed to the 5, 10, 15 when there was no inventory. So keep that in mind. Then we're going to look at our 700,000 to $1 million, even Steven, 8 weeks worth of inventory, 2 months exactly. Our $1 to $3 million price range, this is getting into the luxury market for our area. It's just over 3 months at 3.17 months of supply. So about 90 days, 3 months and a week, give or take there. Still inside seller's market territory. You're not going to see crazy things though, like waiving appraisals and inspections and stuff, and just giving away the farm just to get something under contract. You will have to negotiate. Your house will have to be in decent shape, or that buyer's going to come back and say, hey, sir, we'd like these things to be fixed. So keep that in mind. You're going to have to play ball a little bit more, but overall, the odds are still in the seller's favor at 3 months of supply. Then here's the big swing. And to be honest, the $3 million price range and over for Cave Creek and Carefree is not totally out of keeping for the rest of the luxury market around the valley over $3 million this month. And they're currently sitting at 8 months of supply. 8 months of supply is actually a buyer's market. So 4 or less would be a seller's market. 5, 6 months of supply would be even, stable. And then anything 8 months of supply or more is considered a buyer's market. The thing to keep in mind though here in Cave Creek and Carefree is we don't typically get a lot of properties over $3 million, and we very rarely see a large influx of buyers to buy those properties. So even though we don't get a lot of them, sometimes they can take a while to sell, and then when they do, they kind of pop off quickly. So we're sitting at an 8 months of supply in our area for Cave Creek and Carefree, but there's only 8 properties that were on the market that were available, and 1 of them sold. However, last year, we didn't even have the ability to calculate anything for this price range because last year we had 11 homes in this price range and not a single one of them sold. So keep it in mind. The over $3 million luxury price range in many towns around Maricopa County and around Arizona in general can have very wide, very volatile swings from month to month. So it is not uncommon for the high-end luxury crowd to come into town, drop a bunch of money, and then leave. And 1 month you may see a lot of sales, and then the next month there may be crickets. So keep that in mind. When you're only talking about a handful of properties, that volatility, that data, you kind of tend to need to look at a 6-month range. And if you have a home that's kind of in that price point that you're worried about pricing appropriately, or if you're wondering what's going on in your neighborhood here in Cave Creek or Carefree, or you're thinking about buying a home in Cave Creek or Carefree, study these numbers or give me a call at 480-717-9405 or visit my website at dustimartinrealtor.com.